Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique, and with me today, we got another very special guest here. Now, this is actually First Class, Second Place alum here. We've had him on a previous show way back in the day when it was audio only, way from the humble beginnings of First Class, Second Place. We certainly have elevated the show since then, and you know what? It was still a dope episode, it was still a dope guest, and it was only right that we bring him back. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you once again, previously from First Class, Second Place, joining us again, it is Ghost, the Great One. What's going on, Ghost?
What's up, man? How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. Welcome back to the show, man.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm feeling the upgrade.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
Hey, man, you know how you remember how it was back then. Like, what was the name of that studio again that we were at the first time around?
Capital Sound. That's my nephew, CJ Martin's studio.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember that just when we were about to get started and everything, they started playing the drums really loud, practicing and everything like that. So
rock bands,
so we just had to deal with it. But I think that we still put on a good show regardless.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah, but anyways, man, welcome back to the show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me once again.
Yeah. So the last time I had you on the show, we started off with like your life and your career and so on and so forth. I want to say that was back in like November or October of 2021. We're now in 2023. So what's been going on with you ever since?
Oh, man. Graduated college, got a degree.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you. Knowledge is power. Just put out an EP, dropped today.
All right, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah. We've just been working hard, man. Just trying to stay above ground.
Oh, man, I love to hear that, man. I love to hear that. Hope everybody in the family's good and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And I also want to remind everybody that we're in lovely Garfield, New Jersey at Bravery Studios. Shout out to Steve behind the glass. Superstar Steve. We just saw that beautiful face on the big screen this past weekend. But we'll get into that in a little later. But yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that, bro. I'm glad to hear that everything's been going on great with you, man, and the family. If you don't mind me asking, you just graduated college. What did you major in?
Yeah, I got an associate's degree in health sciences.
What you trying to do with that, if you don't mind me asking?
It was to get licensed to become a pharmacy tech, certified pharm tech.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And have you started working in that field already or not?
Nah, I work for a surgery center right now. I work with a surgeon.
Yeah, and you were just telling me that your little man's, I don't know if we should use the term little anymore because he's about to go to high school now, man. Yep. So
13 years old.
Wow.
Big kid, man. He's almost taller than me.
Wow, it kind of like shocks me a little bit because I look at you and you're still a young guy. You actually look a little younger than you look. So I figure that you have a 13-year-old son. Either you have good genes or you just became a dad way too early in life.
It's probably runs in the family. Definitely the genes.
What is that? Puerto Rican genes?
Puerto Rican, yeah.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
100%.
Right.
My mom, she looks half her age. My dad looks half his age.
That's what's
we
up.
all look young. My uncles, we all look young.
Yeah. So the last time that you were on the show, you had a project that came out. It was called The Son of Raymond.
Son of Raymond, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which I gave you a lot of accolades for that album. I really enjoyed it.
Appreciate
and what I loved about it was that it captured the essence of the kind of hip hop that I grew up on. Obviously, the ones the type that you grew up in, and so on and so forth. And it's good to see that you're still kind of keeping that essence, especially what's going on in the game right now overall.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I just feel like I gotta stay true to myself and stick to what I know. Like, I feel like I could pretty much do any type of hip hop.
Yeah.
I could keep up with the times, or however you want to call it. It's just, for me, I feel like I wouldn't be giving it 100% of my effort if I was doing something that didn't feel like me.
Yeah, of course.
So it's either like you're gonna rock with me for what I do, or you're not gonna like what I put out.
Right.
Because it's going to be half-ass product, and I never want to half-ass anything.
Exactly. No, I feel that, man. How many projects do you have out there right now?
This is my third one, actually. I did October Baby, I want to say back in early 2021 or late 2020. And then Son of Raymond was summer of 2021. And my new EP that came out today.
Yeah, so for everybody that's not aware, these episodes are pre-recorded. So today is Halloween. The EP just dropped today, but you guys can this episode will drop on Friday. But you guys should definitely go check it out right now. I'll even share it in the link, way ahead of time on my social media and so on and so forth. But so before we started recording, we were talking a little bit about Dr. Juan. What could you tell me about Dr. Juan in particular?
Dr. Juan, man, he's a mad scientist. He's my producer, man, engineer. We've known each other for quite some time now. When I met him actually as a rapper. We did a couple songs together where he had verses on there. He became a podcaster. He was doing like independent wrestling.
Yeah.
And the next time we linked up, he was graduated from school and he became an engineer. And told me he was putting beats together. He wanted to do some work, and we put this EP together.
Nice, I like that. Yeah. And the name of the EP,
The Trial Run. The
Trial Run. So why did you call it The Trial Run per se?
It's our first time working together as far as like creating a project as a whole, and he produced everything on there. So it's like, all right, if we're gonna build something here, this is the first step we're taking. Let's just give it a trial run.
Yeah.
And we'll take it from there. So I figured the title was kind of fitting.
How long did it take you to make the project overall?
A little over 3 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's pretty fast for, a project. And there's 6 tracks if I'm not mistaken, correct?
6 tracks. Really 4. There's an intro
the 2
on
skits.
there.
Yeah, I got you.
We pretty much every other Saturday I was at his house, or every Saturday. So we did one session, and the next week I went, and then the following week we laid down the last 2 tracks. And he has to do his thing as far as mixing and mastering. So once that was taken care of, we had a deadline for October 9th. It was done by October 7th.
Okay, so you got it ahead of schedule.
2 days ahead of schedule. Yeah.
Was there any particular reason why you decided to drop it on Halloween, or it just felt right?
I just felt like Halloween would be a good time for it to be polished. Okay. Everything put together the way it was supposed to be. And just the theme of it. The theme of it was fitting for me, and this is my season, man. I'm a Libra.
Yeah, all right.
I'm an October baby, so.
Okay. Well, happy birthday to you, bro.
Appreciate it.
October what, if you don't mind?
22nd.
22nd. Okay, all right. So Scorpio season? No.
Libra, right on the cusp.
Yeah, right on the cusp. Because you know what it is? My brother is October 26th, and he's a Scorpio, so I always get it mixed up right then and there.
Yeah, I'm either the last day of Libra or there's like one more day after. I'm on the cusp.
Yeah. Do you stay? Sure. I don't know. I'm not necessarily a big believer in those kind of signs and anything, but do you actually, like, let me ask you this. Do you actually follow it? Do you believe in it? Or do you just kind of use it as a tool to guide you through everyday life? Kind of like an instruction manual, not necessarily something, I would say for me, it's like an instruction manual while other people treat it like it's the Bible.
Nah, I'm definitely not that deep into it. I'm more or less, I know when I'm feeling like which sign you can say, because I'm on the cusp. So some days I'll have certain tendencies. Some days I'll have another type of tendency. So and I get it a lot. Like, oh, you act like a Libra. You acting like a Scorpio today.
Yeah. What's funny is that I'm a Taurus. My birthday is May 3rd. And usually for people that I usually meet and I tell them my birthday and they go, just to be sure, they're like, Taurus, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they be like, oh, you stubborn. Like, that's like, they're automatically judging me right out of the gate with that shit.
Yeah. My mom's a Taurus, May 6th.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Magda.
And shout out to Margarita, my mother, May 12th. She's a Taurus as well.
All mothers. Shout out to the mothers out there.
Definitely shout out to my moms also, because she came out to the premiere of season 3 of Nights. We were just talking about it earlier, and when Steve Behind the Glass had a little bit of a cameo, a star stealing cameo right there.
Steve about to get an Oscar.
Yeah.
You need an Emmy.
Yeah, all that. Emmy, Grammy, all that. Yeah, but yeah, definitely shout out to moms. I appreciate her coming through, and also my little sister as well. But getting back to you though, so I think we kind of discussed it on the first episode prior, but there's also a chance that there's some people out there that haven't heard that segment per se. So let's do a little bit of deep dive into Ghost the Great One. So as far as like where you were born and raised, you were in Passaic, I presume?
Passaic, New Jersey.
Passaic, New Jersey, okay.
Passaic, New Jersey.
Yeah, and what was like your upbringing personally for you there growing up?
We moved a lot. So I went to like a bunch of different elementary schools before getting to middle school and high school. So I knew a lot of people by the time I got to middle school from all the different schools I went to. And it was pretty much smooth sailing up until high school, and that's when it starts getting a little rocky, you know.
Right.
Typical living in the hood, wrong places at the wrong time type of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, you live and you learn.
Yeah, and you're still here.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Yeah. So, were you musically inclined in the beginning at a very early age, or was this something that you found a passion for as you got older?
I was in high school. I was in high school. I was in school suspension, and I just decided to try to write rhymes on a piece of paper, and it was like 2 pages front and back. I didn't know anything about formulating verses or hooks. I just wrote. And I memorized it, and I would rap at house parties, the same ones, and people gravitated to it. And as time went by, I got better at it, I guess.
When you started doing that, did you do so with the purpose of just trying to get your name out there, trying to get a sense of respect, or were you actually looking forward to taking this as a real career, and this was just the beginnings of it?
At first, it was just like, I thought it was cool to do. Like, I seen older people doing it, and I felt like, well, I could do that too, and I think I'd be dope at it.
Yeah.
And you know, we would go to the studio. I would go to the studio, but you know, shady people in shady places.
Oh yeah.
So they, you know, a lot of dreams were sold, and there comes a time where you just gotta get a hold of the reins and ride out on your own.
So, if for those who are not aware, Nas is actually my favorite MC of all time, especially if you can't tell from the t-shirt. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so one of my favorite songs, well, I don't know, actually I shouldn't say one of my favorite songs, but one song that I do enjoy from Godson is The Book of Rhymes. And I thought it was an interesting concept how he just found some old notebooks of just like rhymes that he would write down, and then he rapped it over an Alchemist beat. And what was funny is that at the end he was like, man, this can't be my Book of Rhymes, right? And this bullshit. So you could tell that very early on he was a rookie. He was still trying to get his feet wet, so he didn't necessarily found his ground yet until he ascended to the legend that he is now. Right. So the reason I bring that up is because during the time when you first started rapping and when you were like freestyling at parties or writing down in your notebooks and everything, and then to the person that you are now, do you sometimes look back and you realize and you appreciate the kind of evolution that you have now as an artist? Like, do you ever look back and like, man, I really came a long way?
Yeah, definitely. I was nice back then, but I think it's different topics. You know what I mean? It's a whole different type of content that I do now. I'm older, wiser, more mature. Back then, it was all streets, and it didn't make sense because I was so young, and they're like, this young little piece of shit, like, what the hell does he know about this shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, you know, life teaches you lessons, and as you grow, you start to develop your own type of style, your own cadence, and things that you really want to talk about and get out there to the people.
And when you became a father for the first time, was that kind of an element to why you wanted to really, you know, get on your grind and so on and so forth and make sure that you go with this full time?
I had to. My son was born, and I was still rapping and whatnot, but I still wasn't taking it as serious, you can say. There were times where, you know, like I said, I was dealing with certain people and certain dreams were sold. And that was from my teenage years, and then, you know, once again, early 20s, around the time my kid was born. So I was naive back then. Now I'm pretty much in control of my own destiny.
Yeah. So that also makes me realize that, like, it just popped off the top of my head. So I've been doing this podcast now for about 2 years now. You know, we passed 110 episodes already. You know, it's been a lot that has happened since late 2021.
Congrats.
And thank you, bro. But the only reason that I'm bringing it up is because I look back at when I first started, and then where I am now, and this is not egotistical at all, it's just facts. I noticed that there's definitely a growth and an evolution within myself, but also one thing that I noticed is that there were people back then when I first started getting into the beginning, and they weren't necessarily discouraging, but they feel like, all right, well, that sounds interesting. If you want to do it, I wish the best for you. But then afterwards, you actually plant your foot down, you get it going, you don't stop, you stay consistent, this, that, and the third. And then all of a sudden, those people that didn't necessarily doubt you, but they didn't exactly give you the support that you felt like you should have got from them, and then afterwards, now it's like basically coming out of the woodwork. So it kind of makes me feel like it was falling in line with what you were saying, like, they were selling you dreams and so on and so forth. And it's as frustrating as it could be in those moments. Everything is hindsight 2020, and then I'm kind of glad that it happened because it has me have a deeper appreciation for everything that I'm doing, whether it's this or any other endeavor that I'll go into in the future.
I agree 100%. With me, it was a situation with so-called managers. Wanting me to be part of a group, and then certain artists in the group wanting to be the face of the group.
A lot of egos.
And then the manager wanting other people to be the face. And then it got to a point where, well, I just want to take a back seat, and basically came out to me helping somebody with his flow and trying to get him right. And I guess he took it as some type of jealousy because the manager was his dad, and I was always more or less like, I just want to play the back. I'm helping you out because I was asked to.
Right.
But then when the time came to talk about money and going to actually shop for deals, which he still wanted to shop us as a group, it's kind of being shiesty with the numbers.
Yeah.
And it always comes down to the numbers, and you know what I mean? It's all greed. It's all greed at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And the first chance I had, I was out.
And what year did this happen around? Like, what kind of timeline are we looking at?
This was the early stages. I want to say 04, 05 maybe.
Okay. Now, the only reason that I bring that up is because I mentioned before on the show that I used to do music way back in the day, very briefly. And one of the pitfalls that I fell into is that I was trying old school tactics of, trying to do shows and, making demos and selling me out the trunk of the car and this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
And it was around the time where you had to market yourself differently because we're in the digital age now. This is the MySpace era. You have to know everything technologically. It's almost like you got to go up against Google's marketing team, this, that, and the third. Yeah. And I feel like because I wasn't privy to it, that it was one of the things that I fell into that I realized that this is not going to happen. So the reason that I bring that up is that did you fall into those pitfalls as well? Like, were you kind of knowing that this is the direction that the game was heading in, and did it kind of like create a roadblock for you temporarily?
It's funny you mentioned that, the selling out the trunk, because I used to just like go to bars and like Patterson and whatnot, or my guy used to drive around selling T-shirts and bootleg CDs, and I'll hand out my mixtape, like just like some shit that was recorded in house. Here, yo, listen, I don't want no money for it. Just listen to it. Let me know what you think. You know what I mean? And I was so wet behind the ears, like nothing was mixed down, nothing was mastered. It sounded like shit. But, I was just trying to get out there. I was trying to get out there and be known.
Right.
Yeah, but now it's a whole different structure, man. We're trying to put together a stamp. We're trying to put together a machine.
And do you find yourself absolutely... Well, you mentioned already that, you're controlling your own destiny. Yeah. So it seems to me that, not only you control your own destiny and you know what you want from your perspective, does that make it hard for you to work with others? Like if it came down to another group situation?
I don't think I would do a group. I would
maybe just collaboration.
Yeah, I would. I don't have a problem collabing. Like, I got my peoples that do their thing. They have their studios. They have their team. Shout out to HQ. Shout out Capital Sound. Bay City, that's the squad. We got our team, but I got my family as well. So we're all family, man. Everything is copacetic. It's just sometimes you gotta just learn how to take your own path.
Right. And one of the things that I love talking about in the previous episode that we did way back was we were talking about how, you know, it just seems like it's so fraudulent in the game now with a lot of artists because I think one of the lines that I mentioned was it seems like every rapper that comes out, especially from like the street or the trap, they're basically talking about like, you know, how they became like this big drug lord kingpin and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, they can't be all like, not everybody is a kingpin. Like I can't imagine all of these rappers being an actual Tony Montana. You're telling me that none of them are like a Manolo or somebody beneath them? Like they,
Sosa.
yeah. So like they all want to portray this image like they were the top dude in their neighborhood or the city or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, that just sounds oversaturated. Like I don't buy into it. I mean, I buy that you were in that environment and I buy that you were part of it or this, that, and the third, but to actually portray something, I mean, and then
not everybody can be that, especially if you're from the same area. Like
exactly,
I wouldn't go to wars with each other over that.
Exactly, shit? That's exactly what I was getting at, and you made a great point, and it's basically entertainment. That's all it is. It's just entertainment. You know, it's WWE. Man. That's all it is at the end of the day.
Exactly. Entertainment in its purest form, no matter how fabricated or how real it is, like it's for other people to judge. And you're either going to be judged in a positive way or in a negative way. You got to take it all with a grain of salt and keep it moving.
Yeah. But what about when it comes to competition? Because I'll be honest with you. I mentioned before that I was in music, and then afterwards now I'm shifting into the podcasting game, and podcasting is definitely my forte. Yeah. I love this, and I feel like I could do this until, you know, I'm 80 years old, God willing. But one of the things that I love about it, especially when I came into this game, is that everybody was so welcoming, and it's a community that everybody wants to get along, and everybody wants to help everybody succeed and collaborate, this, that, and the third. And it seems like in the rap game, it's a little bit too more cutthroat. Everybody's in competition with each other. There is collaboration and there is democracy in some way, but at the end of the day, everybody wants to be the top dog. So you were experiencing that game. How much do you notice like what everybody's always like at each other's throats and everybody wants to be the top dog and always wants to be in competition and so on and so forth? How do you stay above all of that nonsense?
Because nobody could fuck with me. That's number one. Honestly, man, that's not even for me to speak on because I don't even look at myself like that. Like I don't feed into none of that. I just kind of do me, and you know, people that rock with me, they rock with me. I appreciate all the love. As far as being in competition or other people being in competition with each other, that just comes with the territory, man. Like, you know, certain places they rather see people go against each other as opposed to uniting with each other for a bigger cause and trying to put the whole town on the map. They rather be at odds with each other. It doesn't make sense, but you know, it's not really something that you can change if you got a couple knuckleheads. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you're always going to find a couple bad apples no matter where you are, anywhere in this world.
That's a fact.
Yep. It doesn't matter if you're in Patterson. It doesn't matter if you're in fucking Hong Kong, Brazil, whatever. You know, there's always going to be those people out there.
For sure.
Yeah. But I will say this, though. Like, as I mentioned before, I do love The Son of Raymond, your previous project.
Thank you,
and,
man. Thank you.
And, you know, the new EP that you came out with now, The Trial Run. I feel like I need a little bit more. I understand it's only like 4 tracks plus with 2 skits and everything. Yeah. But I guess I enjoyed that other one so much that I actually wanted more from Ghost to Great One. But what I can say is that I definitely I definitely tell that there's been an evolution in your game. I feel like even though you've been doing this for a while and that was a good project that you put out a couple years ago, you're coming back like you're still starving and then you're hungrier than you were in your last project. And that's a lot to say right there when it only consists of 4 tracks. I feel like even though it's only 4 tracks that you were rapping on, you sound a lot hungrier than you were on the last album that contained 10 tracks.
Thank you, man. I think that says a lot about where I stand as far as creating and always just wanting to be better than the last song I recorded, you know. And this was, like I said, hence the title, The Trial Run. Shout out to my guy, Dr. Juan. We put it together. That's our first project together, but it's definitely not the last one. So that was pretty much the appetizer before the entree. Like,
oh shit.
So right after this, we right back in the lab getting ready to start preparing for the album.
And it's Halloween right now, and Thanksgiving is coming soon, if you know what I mean.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So so there was 2 tracks that really stood out to me real quick. So you have Xerxes. So what I liked about that one was, well, first and foremost, I love the production on the entire thing, because I feel like Dr. Juan knows the type of hip hop that I love to listen to,
right.
and you know, obviously you as well. Yeah. But with Xerxes, what I liked about it is that it took me back to the age where it was just all about, like, you know, bars, wittiness, metaphors, this, that, and the third. We still have that here and there. They have their place in it, but like I said, compared to back then with Son of Raymond to where it is now with the Trial Run, there's a lot more hunger in you. Right. And obviously for people that are movie buffs like me, they know that Xerxes is from 300, the movie 300.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we live in a time now in hip hop where people will just name their songs off of famous characters or celebrities or whatever, but there's no, you know, it's not even really said in the song. You know, it's not even in the hook or anything.
Right.
So, but that's just a new wave now. You know, we know that Griselda does it all the time with Bubba Chuck and, you know, Rey Mysterio and so on and so forth. So why did you decide to name this title Xerxes? Because I feel like there's a meaning behind it, even though it's not really said in the record.
When Dr. Juan sent me the beat for it, the first bar that came to my head was "Gold Around My Neck got me feeling like Xerxes."
Yeah.
And from there, I just was like, all right, I'm gonna call it Xerxes because it just sounds different. It sounds different, and I don't know, it's catchy.
Okay.
I mean, maybe the younger generation who never saw 300, they probably won't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Xerxes, and yeah, it's fire, man.
Yeah, it is a fire record.
But that's pretty much where the title came from. Was like that was the first line that popped in my head.
Okay, just simple. That's cool. Yeah, and then you also have Evils, which I which I really like, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I feel like I mentioned this not just on the podcast, but just in everyday conversation with people that I love and trust. Just the fakeness that's out there, the fakeness, the pettiness, the things that people will do and say for a little bit of fame and the 15 minutes, and you know, trying to get this instant gratification and validation because they're so insecure and they don't believe in themselves and they feel like they need the entire world to love them to feel like they actually matter. It could reach a different topic that I'm not ready to discuss right now, but just keep it within but keep it within the song though. It feels like you really took a step back on this track and you realize that these are just some of the things that not only do you not do yourself, but you just have a little bit too much more self-respect for yourself than anybody out there that's trying to do all these things. Like, you know, I know there's friends of mine that do this, so, you know, there's no judgment here. It's just not something that you do, not something I do. But an example would be is actually paying to be verified on social media.
Right. It's like I said, man, it's all a facade, man, and it goes back to what I was saying before as far as people selling you dreams of you know, this lavish lifestyle, so to speak, the jewelry and all the materialistic things that people live by. It can be taken away with like snap of a finger,
right?
You know what I mean? So if that's what you're in it for, you're not gonna have longevity. My whole thing is I'm for the culture, man. I'm for the essence. I'm for the golden era of this shit. You know what I mean? The jewelry shit, that don't mean nothing. That's replaceable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your legacy's not.
Exactly.
That's how I feel.
No, I'm in lockstep with you, man, because that's the interesting thing is that I'll be honest with you, we come from 2 different worlds. I'm not in the world that you're in. I didn't grow up the way you did and so on and so forth. But I feel like you and I still have like the core values of human beings. You know, just citizens of this planet.
The level of integrity.
Exactly. All right. Perfectly said. You know, exactly. So being able to coexist with people like that and being able to surround yourself with people that are like-minded definitely makes me feel good about myself, and also very positive, for lack of a better term, for what can happen in the future, especially with the people that you surround yourself with.
For sure.
Yeah, and you know, family is always going to be number one. That's for sure.
Yeah,
always.
And
yeah. So, but but what more? I guess I also wanted to ask you, and this is kind of like a tongue-in-cheek question. What is Booty Rap Records? I want you to explain that to my audience because I know what it is, but
Booty Rap Records is a skit on the EP. Shout out Dev Divine.
Shout out to Dev Divine.
It was an idea that I came up with, but we used to share the memes, like, you know, when like you call a company and they put you on hold, and there's like a certain song that plays. There was like a meme where it was like Jermaine Dupri and the Brat. They were like, every time this song comes on, when I get put on hold, I'm like this. Everybody's bouncing and shit. So we always thought like, damn, hold on, that beat sound kind of tough. So you know, I called Dev, like, listen, I just need you to say this. When I call you, I'm gonna be in the booth. And she did it. She had a stank ass attitude. So it came out perfect. You know what I mean? It came out perfect. And then shout out Dr. Juan. He sampled it and created a whole new beat with the sample of the hold, the actual music that they play when they put you on hold. And shout out to my guy Stack Federal Dollars, who featured on the song. He did an incredible job on that. And we created a gem.
Yeah. Shout out to Stack though. He actually hit me up a couple of times already. We got to get him on the show.
That's
I know
my guy, man.
Yeah. Peace on
that's my guy.
What's that thing that he always messages you, like peace and encouragement unto you or something like that?
Man. He's just very enlightening, man. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like a breath of fresh air when you're having a bad day, and just to know that there's still people out there like that in the world that's uplifting. It's a beautiful thing, man. That's it. He got a beautiful soul, man. That's my guy.
That's what's up, man. I feel like we need more people in this world like that anyway, especially with all the crazy shit that's going on right now. But we're not going to get into all of that.
Yeah.
But going back to Booty Rap Records, which that's pretty fucking funny, I'll tell you that. But one of the reasons what I loved about that skit is because, again, it takes me back to, like, you know, the Locks or DMX or any of these
like Raping You records.
Exactly. That it took me back to that point, to that time, that era where, you know, it was kind of like tongue-in-cheek humor with these records that was so memorable. And, you know, sometimes I could just be out there with my boys and I'll just say like, you know, Rape A Lot Records or something like that, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's what I meant by you keeping the essence and the culture alive with remembering where you come from in your artistry. And then shifting over to Can't Deny Greatness, which is the name of that song that you have with Stack Federal Dollars. That was one of the things I wanted to talk about as well, because I noticed that that you guys did sample, because I've actually been on hold with customer service with that beat. So I didn't hate it, but over time when you're waiting a long time, it gets annoying, it gets repetitive. But the fact that you guys were able to flip it and make it into a song, which that goes to show the originality right there too, because the creativity, the originality, like you guys, you know, you made it and made it into something great, and I appreciate that. So
and it was something that I never heard before, or I never heard anyone try to sample it or create something out of it.
That's so my point.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just
and you guys did it,
and I was like, "Listen, what you think about maybe sampling this?" And I sent him the little YouTube bit, and he was like, "Yo, I was thinking the same thing. I just never put it in motion." So I'm like, "Well, let's put it in motion and let's create something." And it was fire, man.
I think that you guys, like me, just my own personal opinion, I think that's a song that should and could be pushed, because I think everybody will realize where that sample comes from.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then afterwards you guys
especially like if you ever work like in an office setting.
Yeah.
So now when you get put on hold and you just play my joint.
Yeah.
Play my joint.
You got two heavy hitters. You got two heavy hitters on the track.
Two bar spitters.
Three if you want to include Dr. Juan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I think I don't think you could lose, honestly.
It's a beautiful thing, man. I'm real excited, and I appreciate all the positive feedback I've been getting so far, and it's just the first day, so.
I love that. I love that, man. So with all the accolades and the positive feedbacks and everything that's been going on in your career, one of the things I also appreciate about you is that you're very, I don't want to say humble, because recently I learned that the word humble kind of means like you kind of lower and demean yourself to somebody else's level. So grounded is actually a word that I like better, because it starts from the bottom, but it gives you an opportunity to elevate up. So the point that I'm getting at here though is that with all the positive accolades and everything that you've been going through throughout your career, but yet you still remain grounded. How important is that to you in order to keep on doing what you're doing?
Mama raised me right, man. She told me never get too big-headed, man. Once you get too big-headed, you get too gassed, somebody deflate you.
And did you ever have those moments where you got a little bit too egotistical, and then afterwards you had to check yourself?
Hell yeah. There's still times where, you know, I gotta look at myself and be like, all right, I gotta relax, because sometimes my mouth get a little reckless. You know, hanging out, having a few drinks, or just chilling with the crew, and man, I'm better than all you motherfuckers. Like, but that's just like you said, the competitive part of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's always in you.
Yeah.
But sometimes, as far as me, I kind of want to move in a different way.
Yeah.
But sometimes it still comes out, and I got to check myself. You know what I mean? It happens.
It happens. It happens to the best of us.
We're human.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're all human. I'm not only that, but I'm also glad to see that you and your lovely girl, Dev Divine, are still doing music together, and you're still putting out projects. That's one of the things that I've always appreciated about the both of y'all, is that when I first met both of y'all in different, timelines, I definitely see why you guys are so simpatico, especially with sticking to the music part specifically, because I know where you guys come from as far as music is concerned. I know you guys have the passion for it, and I just love the fact that you guys are still in it, and you guys are still collaborating, you're still working together, and so on and so forth. That's your ride or die right there. Sure. That's your absolute ride or die. So what can you tell me about how she makes you better as an artist, and vice versa?
Well, I mean, on a musical level, I feel like, as far as the pen goes, she's top tier. Like, I don't know a lot of people, like even rappers, that are nice with the pen like that. And she sings, she's super dope at that, you know what I mean? So anytime we ever collabed, it always pushed me to push my pen even further, or take my imagination to limits I never thought I could take it to. You know what I mean? And that's just off the strength of her sword. They say iron sharpens iron. Is that the saying?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what that is, man. It's just, me always trying to be better when we in the studio creating. But she's dope, man. She got a great mind.
She's got a great mind. She's got a great voice, and I'm greedy. I'm sorry, but I feel like we need to definitely hear some more music from her. I know that she's doing her thing, and she's getting everything off the ground and everything. But
she got a couple things in the works.
Yeah, it's just that I'm just a greedy fan. I want more from Ghost. I want more from Dev. I want more from Kaz. Everybody, So
Kaz, Cloud, what up?
Yeah, I just hope that you guys stay consistent with it. Like I said, I'm just a greedy fan. I want more and more. So, that's only because
it's team effort.
Yeah,
everybody got their own thing going on, but when it's time for everyone to come together, it'll happen for sure. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I'm not disappointed in what's been going on, because, like I said, Son of Raymond came out in 2021. You just dropped the trial run today, 2023. Almost about 2 years.
Yeah, and I was on the low. I was out the way for a minute, but I'm back. I'm back outside.
But like I said, it sounded like you came back hungrier than ever, and I felt like it was well worth the wait. So people definitely go check out the trial run with Dr. Juan and the Ghost of Great One, streaming everywhere on Apple, Spotify, DSPs, everything. Yep.
It'll be on YouTube by the time this episode drops.
Speaking of YouTube, do you have any music videos in the works?
We're actually gonna shoot Xerxes next weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, we're gonna do Xerxes next weekend.
Nice. Anything you could tell us about that, as far as or you want to just keep
I'm still kind of drawing it up in my head, like what I want to do with it. I'll probably just take it somewhere dark, because the theme of it, Halloween. Probably just take it somewhere dark, like a cemetery or something, and sit down by a tombstone with a bottle of champagne. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah, for sure. All
right. Well, I'm looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. So besides, you finishing college, and then you being a dad, and you doing, your music thing, and you just dropped the EP today and everything, what else do you see yourself going on the horizon, and for yourself? Like, not just future plans that you already have, but I guess that, because lately I've been wearing a lot of hats. I'm podcasting, I'm acting, I'm directing now, I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff. So is there anything out there that Ghost wants to do that hasn't tapped his foot into yet, but it's definitely something that you feel like you could possibly excel at?
You got an acting gig for me? You need me to get on one of them episodes of nights?
Great promo. I love that. Great promo right there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could read a script. I could act something out.
All right. We could definitely talk about that for sure.
Definitely
man.
Something having to do with entertainment, man. Because the music scene is entertainment, but any acting gig, I'm trying to be one of them big Fashion Nova guys too,
Oh shit! Yeah, and so also a little cross promotion here. Shout out to Hugo from the Hugo Boy podcast, and also my co-host for Yo BTV Sports. So like my co-host, he's also a fan of the Dallas Cowboys.
Let's go.
Yeah. So just the audience right now is not particularly a sports fan. But, I know that some of them may be Cowboy fans or some of them Cowboy haters. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about your team so far right now, man?
I feel like we should have made a trade to get better. Today was the deadline. We didn't make any moves. I feel like Jerry Jones has to just take a seat for a while, go sit up somewhere, and let his son kind of do what he does or someone else, But as far as our record stands, we're not doing too bad. And we just got to see. This Sunday's the test. We failed the first test, which was San Fran. We failed miserably. But this Sunday is the test.
Yeah.
Philly.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, listen, man, I'm a Jets fan. If we were able to handle Philly, I think you guys should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a division game.
It's always going to be tough.
Gritty, man.
Yeah.
And, man, we got to do something for that tush push.
Facts.
We got to try to figure out
who knows, man? Maybe, who knows? What do you think, Steve? Maybe we should get him on your BTV Sports?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. We'll hit up Hugo. We'll work something out.
Let's talk about it.
And we won't talk about it right now. But when we bring you on the show, one thing that I'm interested in knowing, and you don't have to discuss it right now, is that you live in Jersey. You're from Jersey, but you're a Cowboy fan. But that's fine. There's Cowboy fans everywhere. But I'm wondering, like, how does a Cowboy fan also root for another Philly team, which in your case is the 76ers? But we'll get into that another time. And I just find it interesting. That's also a little bit of a tease for Yo BTV Sports. So check it out pretty soon. Shout out to you, Go Boy. Shout out to Breaker Studios.
Talk about it on the show, man.
Yeah. Go boy.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm a little bit of a greedy fan. Any more music coming on the way, because I know that this is just the trial run, literally the trial run. This is just the appetizer, wait for the entree. When could we expect that, more or less? I know that you're still working on it and everything, but you did mention before with the trial run that you kind of put a deadline in your head. So where could we expect from Ghost the Great One as far as music is concerned?
So the trial run EP is out right now. That's definitely the appetizer. The entree is the album. The album is called Great Times. And we're looking at close to Valentine's Day. Close to Valentine's Day. But there will be other projects in the works that you will hear me on as far as features and collaborations go. But as far as another solo project, we're looking for like mid-February.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I love that. Yeah. Now, so we're about to close out this episode in a little bit, but I remember in the previous episode that we did, I asked a question about if they were to make a movie on your life, which actor would you like to see portray a character and why? I'm kind of, my mind is slipping right now. I listened to it earlier for research, but for some reason it's slipping my mind right now. So I apologize, but you guys can go check out that episode, available on Spotify, Google, everywhere you get your podcast. But so now that you're here for a second time, and we were just talking about acting gigs and so on and so forth, I guess the question that I'll ask you this time around is, who would be your dream director to tell your story if it was made into a movie?
Oof, Scorsese.
Gotta go with the legend.
Yeah,
gotta go with the legend,
John
Scorsese.
Singleton, but rest in peace.
Yeah, R.I.P. to John Singleton. Yeah,
Scorsese for sure.
All right, I love it. Yeah, and I definitely got to check out that new movie. I haven't seen it yet, but
which one's that?
Killers of the Flower Moon with Leo. And, yo, I was thinking about this, Steve, the other day when we were at the premiere. Not only were we excited for the premiere, but I realized our show is literally a door or two doors away from a Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Robert De Niro flick. So that's also surrounding yourself by greatness. I don't know if I'm sounding like bullshit right now, but that was just something that popped into my head. So I'm gonna take it as a sign. All right. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of First Class, Second Place. Thank you again to my guest, Ghost the Great One. Anybody want to give a shout out to before we close out?
Shout out to the gang, man. HQ, Capital Sound, always. Bay City, Dr. Juan, Stack Federal Dollars, Dev Divine, what up? Y'all know what it is, man. The whole Passaic, New Jersey, 973, Uptown, Midtown, Downtown, all the way to Lebanon. We here.
Love it. And one more time, where can they find you on social media?
Yo, at Ghost the Great One, GHOSTBAGR8_1. It's a lot to take in. You get used to it.
I love the confidence. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us so much. And a little bit of announcement. The podcast will be taking a break. It will be on hiatus for the month of November. But don't worry, we'll be back in December. It's just a lot going on right now. And I got to make sure that I give my time to everybody. And I want to come back as a bigger and better host by the time Christmas comes around. So we will see you then in December. Thank you so much for everybody that has been staying in tune. Thank you to everybody that's been watching all the podcasts, the previous. Shout out to all my guests. Shout out to everybody for the cast and crew of Nights Season 3. Definitely got some more acting. Thank you, bro. Thank you. We have more projects coming on the way. A little bit of breaking news. I did book 2 acting gigs, so I'm going to be busy with that. Okay. And also check me out on other podcast special guest episodes that I will be on other people's platforms. But yeah, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You can find me at JasonEnrique_ on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, all social media platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe on YouTube at Jason Enrique. This has been the First Class Second Place podcast. We out.